What's up guys, Thomas from FT86 Speed Factory, and today we're going to be talking about wheel spacers. Wheel spacers, it's a highly debated topic. Should you use wheel spacers or should you stay away from these? I say you should use them if you need to. Say you have a set of wheels that has the wrong offset, wheel spacers can fix that problem for you pretty easily. Now if you have a big brake kit and you don't have enough clearance, a 5mm spacer like this will usually do the trick. Or if you just want to give your stock wheels a more flush look with the fenders, just throw a 20mm spacer up front and a 25 in the rear, and that is a perfect job. The same thing goes for a wide body kit. Say you got a Rocket Bunny or the ML24 kit and you don't want to buy a 11 or 12 inch wide wheel plus the wider tire, you can just get a spacer and give that a nice flush look with your wide body kit. Now wheel spacers are going to increase your track width, which does actually increase the amount of grip that your car is going to make, but it's not actually going to be that measurable. Maybe a % or two. It's not going to be something that you're going to feel drastically when you drive the car. Now for my drifters out there that maybe you have a couple steering mod angles and you're getting some more steering angle, eventually you're going to get to the point where your wheel or your tire is going to start rubbing on stuff, basically anything in the wheel well, from the control arms to the tie rods, even the inner fender liner here. It's going to get in your way, and a wheel spacer can space it out just a little bit to give you a little bit more clearance before you start hitting something in here, and that's going to give you a little bit more angle as well. So if there's all these benefits to wheel spacers, then why is it such a controversial topic? Well, when we're installing a wheel spacer, we're actually increasing the leverage and the distance between the wheel and the hub, and that extra load is going to go on the wheel bearing, and that is going to decrease the life of the wheel bearing over time. But by how much? I don't really know, but it's not going to be something like in 10,000 miles you're going to have to replace your wheel bearings. Maybe if your wheel bearings normally last 8 years, maybe you'd cut about a year off and you'd have to replace them around 7 years. Now some problems with wheel spacers are when they are installed incorrectly, and you're going to have a little vibration in the steering wheel sometimes if it's installed incorrectly. Sometimes there's some dirt or something in between here that doesn't make it completely flush with the hub. So what you want to do is make sure that both surfaces are 100% clean. This is pretty dirty and we'd have to probably clean this up before we actually install this, and you're going to want to make sure that you torque these evenly and to spec, and with those you won't have any problems. Now spacers have a few different varieties to them. You have a slip-on spacer and a bolt-on spacer, and you also have a Hub Centric spacer as well as a non-Hub Centric spacer. Now these two are obviously different sizes. This is a 5mm spacer while this is a 20, and slip-on spacers can be found in thinner sizes, while bolt-ons, maybe they don't go down past like 15mm, just because you need that extra thickness to have those extra bolts. Now slip-on spacers slip right over the wheel studs as they would just like a giant washer essentially. But if anything is 5mm or greater in thickness, you're gonna have to install some extended lug nuts. So you're gonna pop out your stock ones, and then you're gonna replace them with these slightly longer ones, just so your lug nuts have enough threads to them that they're going to torque on properly. Otherwise you risk the safety of them maybe falling off if you're driving, and that's pretty scary. You may also want to consider getting some open-ended lug nuts just in case you're swapping wheels with a wheel that doesn't require a spacer and you still have these extended lug nuts. That open end is going to allow that lug stud to protrude through the lug nuts, so if you had a closed off cab you probably wouldn't be getting the correct torque. So open-ended lug nuts is an option you may want to consider. Now for bolt-on wheel spacers, these have their own lug studs and lug nuts, because you're going to be bolting this to the hub and then you're going to be bolting your wheel to this spacer. Now there are pros and cons to this. The pro is that you don't have to worry about extended lug studs, but the con is that you have twice as many potential points of this failing, so it's really up to you. You're going to have to do your research to find which one is best for your needs. This one's definitely simple, but there's twice as many bolting points. This one takes a little bit more work up front, but it's a little bit more simple when you're installing the wheel. Now both of these kinds of spacers come in either a Hub Centric or a non-Hub Centric. This one is non-Hub Centric while this bolt-on spacer is Hub Centric, and the only difference here is this little ridge in the center that's going to center the center bore of the wheel to make sure it doesn't come off-centered. That's really the only difference. Now the other kind of wheel spacers are conversion spacers, and this converts the 5x100 bolt pattern that all FRS BRZs and 86s use to the way more popular 5x114.3. All S2Ks, Evos, WRXs, STIs, and all S chassis all use 5x114.3. So the selection for all those wheels is massive for those cars. So if you're looking for a wheel that isn't available in this bolt pattern yet, or you just want to get some used cheap wheels, a conversion spacer is probably the best, simple, cheapest way to go. But something to keep in mind when you're converting your wheels to a different bolt pattern is the thickness of the spacer. Like if you have an offset of a plus 45 on the wheels that you're going to convert on here, and this is going to be a 15 millimeter spacer, your effective total offset is going to be 30 millimeters. So just keep that in mind when you're fitting up the offset of your car. Well, that wraps up our wheel spacer video. If you guys run wheel spacers, let me know your thoughts and why you run them in the comments section. And if you have any questions about wheel spacers or just parts in general, feel free to send us an email at sales@ft86speedfactory.com. This is Thomas, and I'll see you guys in the next video. But to make sure that that doesn't happen, of studs and bolts that you're going to be studs, that's the same thing, connected onto your wheel. No, you can't do that. That's impossible.